What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my full card breakdown and prediction video for UFC 319. We have Khamzat Chimaev going against Dricus Du Plessis, and yeah, I cannot wait for this card. I think this is the most excited I've been for a main event in a very long time. It's an incredible fight. It's an incredible card. I'm looking forward to it. I will be in attendance for UFC 319. Really looking forward to heading to Chicago, and it's going to be a fun time. And if you're out in Chicago and you see me, say what's up. Say what's up. Unless you're a weirdo, man. I mean, some of these guys on here. I remember one guy said he wants to pipe me on site. Like, what is that supposed to mean? What do you mean you want to pipe me on site? Like, he wants to have sex with me? No. I'm not having sex with you, dude. So as long as you're not, one of those guys, and you don't want to have sex with me, just say what's up. Say what's up. Looking forward to meeting a lot of you guys out in Chicago. I know a lot of people are going to be there. And yeah, looking forward to this card. Looking forward to breaking it down as well. Before we get into it, if you guys could do me a couple favors, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. Just hit 29,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. We are 1,000 away officially for 30K, trying to hit 30K by the end of the year. If you guys enjoy the content, please consider hitting the subscribe button. And also leave me a comment. That really helps the algorithm, helps, get more exposure, and that means a ton as well. If you want to go the extra mile and support me more, check out dfsbythenumbers.com. I'm doing a ton of content on there. You get the fight write-ups, the best bet article. I'm doing a ton of Dana White's Contender Series content as well. Best bet article for DWCS, betting breakdown video for Contender Series. Just a ton of content right now on dfsbythenumbers.com. These next 10 weeks are about to be crazy with Contender Series, and I think 9 cards in the next 10 weeks for UFC as well. So yeah, looking forward to this card. I say we get into it, and we're going to break it down. Oh, forgot. The Significant Strike Contest. It's a pay-per-view card. We got to do the Significant Strike Contest. To enter, like, subscribe, and then comment how many significant strikes you think that Khamzat Chimaev and Dricus Du Plessis are going to combine for. $25 to first. If there's a tie, the tiebreaker goes to the person that commented first. And then if you guys hit it on the dot this week, I'm going to double the prize to $50. So comment down the significant strikes between Khamzat Chimaev and Dricus Du Plessis. Now, let's get into it here. This card's a banger. And by the way, there are going to be 2 tough fights on this card. We know one of them right now, and we're going to find out the other one late Tuesday night. So I'll be breaking down the tough fights later in the week on the Friday show, on the Saturday show. But right now we're just going to touch on these 12 UFC fights there because I need to get this video out. It's already Tuesday. I got to get the video out. All right. We got Silva going against Diana Barbosa. We got Silva sitting as a minus 210 favorite. Diana Barbosa sitting as a plus 185 underdog. And yeah, nice little fight here to kick off the card. And yeah, I feel like these 2 fighters are well matched in a way. Like, Silva has a lot of power on the feet. Barbosa has some power on the feet. Silva's a very, very dangerous grappler. Barbosa's a dangerous grappler. But I just feel like Silva's, just a little bit higher level at this point. So this is actually a rematch from a fight that took place back in 2019. But, since that fight, I just feel like Silva's been a little bit more active. I think she's made a lot more improvements. She has 23 fights on her record, whereas Diana Barbosa only has 11 fights. So I think that experience definitely does mean something. Silva has actually fought, more times in the UFC as well, and has fought some solid fighters in the UFC. And yeah, her last fight wasn't a great look against Viviane Araújo, but I think Araújo is a very underrated fighter. I've always really felt that way. So kind of how I see this fight playing out is I think Silva is going to be the better striker here. I think she's going to have more power on the feet. And then in the grappling, I do think Barbosa might be able to have success early on, but we see oftentimes in fights where Barbosa does slow down in fights. And to be fair, Silva has before as well. Silva, the optics weren't great in the Viviane Araújo fight, but Silva was able to go out there against a tough opponent in Ariana Da Silva, where she was able to take her down across 3 rounds, and her cardio did help hold up. Her wrestling held up over the course of 15 minutes, and that's kind of where I see this fight taking place. I think Silva can mix in takedowns. I think she can land the better shots in the feet. I'm not sure she's going to finish Barbosa. Barbosa's a black belt and a competent grappler when the fight hits the ground, and she does seem like she does have a decent chin. She has been knocked out before in the past, but I'm going to take Silva to win this fight and take her to win this fight by decision. Next, we got Edson Barbosa going against Dricus Close. We got Barbosa, 39 years old. Dricus Close, 37 years old. And this last month, we've had a lot of these older fighters go out there and not only compete, but win fights. I mean, these older fighters are just on a roll. as of late. And we got two older fighters, going after it here. Barbosa minus 175, Drakkar Klose is plus 150. So this is a sketchy fight to me. A couple things to mention. Barbosa is coming back up to lightweight, which I think is a perfect move for him. That weight cut at 39 years old, it's got to be awful. I mean, this guy has to cut so much weight. He looks like death on the scales at featherweight. I'm glad that he's coming back up to lightweight, and I think that's going to potentially benefit him in that durability and that chin, because I am worried about the chin and the durability of Barbosa. You take a look at Barbosa's last several fights. Anytime this guy gets hit clean, he's doing the chicken dance out there. I hate the optics. I don't like how he's reacting to getting punched in the face. And, you won't typically have to worry about that against Drakkar Klose. Drakkar Klose doesn't have a ton of power. Drakkar Klose does have 2 knockout wins in the UFC. One was against Brandon Jenkins, and then one was that slam against Joe Solecki. But other than that, he hasn't really flashed much power. I believe he has only 2 knockdowns in the UFC, and both were against Brandon Jenkins. So with the fact that Drakkar Klose isn't that dangerous, and the fact that Edson Barbosa is not cutting down to featherweight, I think that's going to help the durability, and I think he should be fine here against Drakkar Klose. On the flip side, I'm worried about Drakkar Klose and his durability, right? Remember, a couple years ago, we had Klose versus Jeremy Stephens. And Klose, did the weight cut, and they faced off, and Jeremy Stephens shoved Drakkar Klose, and he shoved him so hard that he got like a neck injury or a back injury, got like a concussion, like something, like it was crazy. Like I'm pretty sure it like ruined Drakkar Klose's career after that Jeremy Stephens push. And he did go out there, I believe, and beat Brandon Jenkins after that. But he hasn't really fought anybody that hits hard since then, outside of Joe Alvarez, who finished him in round 1. I did not like how Klose looked in that fight. And to be fair, that was Joe Alvarez, but I also didn't like how he looked in the Silva fight. The cardio didn't look great. He got dropped badly by Silva in that fight. He almost got submitted by Silva in that fight. And yeah, he beat Joe Solecki, Rafa Garcia, and Brandon Jenkins, who just don't have power. Edson Barbosa has power. Even at 40 years old, Edson Barbosa has power. I think Barbosa is the better striker, and I think he knocks out Drakkar Klose. I think for Klose to win this fight, he's going to have to completely sell out for the grappling. He's going to have to completely sell out for the cage pushing in this fight. He's going to try to get the fight down to the ground, because when this fight is at distance, although I think both guys, their durability is questionable, I think Edson Barbosa is just much, much more dangerous, and I think that's going to be the key factor here. So I'm going to take Edson Barbosa to win this fight, and I think he's going to win this fight by second round knockout. And I'm hoping coming back up to lightweight kind of rejuvenates his career, at this state, 39 years old. I think Edson Barbosa gets it done by second round knockout. Next up, we got Diego Ferreira going against King Green. We got Diego Ferreira minus 155, King Green plus 135. Another unk fight here. We got Diego Ferreira, 40 years old. My goodness. King Green, 38 years old. And yeah, a lot of money has came in on King Green, and I don't know. If this was a couple years ago, I think it would be a pretty good matchup for Green. It's like Green is going to be the better striker. He's going to have more volume. In the past, you'd have thought he'd be more durable. Has the wrestling, the takedown defense to kind of keep it upright. But I'm very worried about, King Green. And just like Drakkar Klose, where I said the Jeremy Stephens shove, I think ruined his career. What ruined King Green's career was Kerry Hatley. Kerry Hatley ruined King Green's career. That Jalen Turner loss was one of the worst stoppages I've ever seen in my life, up there with the Benoit Saint-Denis, Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos non-stoppage, up there with the Jason Herzog, Muhammad Yahya non-stoppage until the fight got stopped and after the second round. I'd put the Green Jalen Turner stoppage, right up there with those two. I mean, one of the worst stoppages I've ever seen in my entire life, where, Jalen Turner landed a big shot on the feet and made King Green do the chicken dance, and then floored him with the shot after that. The fight should have been stopped right there, right? And then Jalen Turner proceeds to get on top, starts landing ground and pound. Bobby Green goes out, and then keeps pounding him, right? And Green wakes up, and then keeps pounding him some more, and then he puts him back out, and then keeps pounding him some more. And then Kerry Hatley finally stops the fight. Kerry Hatley should be arrested. He should be charged with attempted murder. That's what it looked like to me. It looked like attempted murder. But Kerry Hatley's still out there reffing for some reason. But yeah, horrible stoppage, and that's going to take years off your life. And King Green, this is going to be, his 50th fight? 51st fight? This guy's been fighting forever, and he's taken a lot of damage. but he's taken a lot of damage, especially at this stage of his career, and he just doesn't look the same. In the Tony Ferguson fight, we're talking Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson hurt Green in the first round. We saw Jalen Turner, like I said, almost kill him in there. It was a bad look. Jim Miller hurts Green in the first round. He completely quits against Paddy Pimblett. Looked like he threw the fight. Like, why are you wrestling against Paddy Pimblett? Why are you putting yourself into a submission against Paddy Pimblett? Like, that makes no sense to me. And then he gets knocked out brutally by Mauricio Hufi. I'm really worried about Bobby Green, or King Green. And the name change as well. Legally changing your name to King, I mean, that should have been the telltale sign that something's wrong with Green here. You just can't go out there and legally change your name and not expect me to think something's not wrong. Diego Ferreira, he's older, but he has a lot less tread on the tires. This guy barely fights. And I think that's good. I think that's good for him here. I mean, he barely fights. He, since 2020, has 5 fights. This dude never fights. And when he does fight, he's still performing at a very high level, like that Grant Dawson fight. Grant Dawson did take him down and control him for 10 minutes, but it took everything in his power, Grant Dawson, to be able to control Diego Ferreira on the mat. And on the feet, Ferreira looked great against Dawson. Ferreira outlanded him 31-19 at distance. He looked incredible in the Mateusz Rebecki fight. He did get hurt early, but won round 2, round 3, and then finished late round 3. The cardio looked great for Ferreira. And then he knocked out Michael Johnson, which that's not easy to do. So, I haven't seen any signs of decline for Ferreira, even at 40 years old, whereas with Green I have, and I've seen a lot of decline. So, yeah, I like Ferreira here, and I think Ferreira can win this fight by any method. I think he can knock out Green. Ferreira still has power. Just ask Michael Johnson, ask Mateusz Rebecki, and I think he could potentially sub Green. I mean, I'm worried about the sub defense of Green, these days as well. But I could also see him winning a decision as well. So yeah, I'm worried about the age of Green, the tread on the tires, the fight IQ of Green at this stage of his career, the hands-down style. It's not working anymore. So yeah, give me Ferreira here, and I'm going to take Ferreira to win this fight by first-round knockout. Up next, we have Mikhail Olazechuk going against Gerald Meerschaert. We got Olazechuk, who is minus 210. Gerald Meerschaert is plus 180. So we got a couple fighting nerds on this card. We got Olazechuk training at the Fighting Nerds the last couple fights, and I think that's a great move for him because, quite frankly, this guy can't grapple, and that makes this fight so intriguing here because the ground is lava for Mikhail Olazechuk. Olazechuk has been submitted 6 times in his career, and he's going against Gerald Meerschaert, who has 37 wins, and 30 of them have come by submission. If this fight hits the ground in any round, 1, 2, or 3, 2-3 especially, but even round 1, Meerschaert will submit Mikhail Olazechuk, and Olazechuk does have a 48% takedown defense. But, another older fighter here, Gerald Meerschaert, 37 years old. I did not like how he looked in that Brad Tavares fight. The striking looked non-existent. It looked pretty much worse than ever. And I always thought Meerschaert was an underrated striker, but, the striking looked rough there. Same thing with the DeRitter fight. Got dropped by DeRitter in the first round. Completely death gas. Showed typically Meerschaert has solid cardio, but no, he death gassed in the DeRitter fight, got submitted. I think Olazechuk needs to keep this fight standing, and I'm hoping he's made some improvements, some adjustments with that takedown defense. And if he has done that, it's one-way traffic on the feet. The striking isn't close. Olazechuk is a phenomenal striker. I love the body work, the volume, the power, the forward pressure, the cardio, the toughness on the feet. But if he gets taken down, he is screwed here. He's screwed in most fights, but he is screwed here. And with that said, though, Olazechuk has done a good job at when he gets taken down, getting back up, like the Kyle Bahio fight in the first round, the Jimmy Crute fight. Crute took him down 8 times and he got back up, 7 times. So if he does get taken down, hopefully he can get back up. But if he does get taken down, I'd be extremely worried. So, but I got to go Olazechuk here. I'm a big fan of this guy. I think he can absolutely knock out Meerschaert, who just really is at a massive, massive striking disadvantage here. I think Olazechuk knocks out Meerschaert, and I think he does it in round number 1. Up next, we have Lupita Godina is going against my girl, Jessica Andrade, and look how great Jessica looks over there on your right-hand side. You don't see a fighter as handsome as Jessica Andrade in the UFC. But we got Lupita minus 155, Andrade plus 135. One thing I want to mention is this line has been just crushed. The line has been crushed. Lupita Godina's I believe last week and a half ago, Lupita Godina was like minus 260. Now she's minus 155 on Andrade, money pouring in on Jessica Andrade. And although I'm a big fan of Andrade, and I think she's hot, I don't know. Andrade has just been so inconsistent, right? I mean, she's been very inconsistent these last several years. You know, she was dealing with that divorce. You know, she went through like a midlife crisis. She created an OnlyFans, and don't recommend, by the way. And in some of these fights, she's looking incredible. Like the Mackenzie Dern fight. She looked incredible in the Mackenzie Dern fight, right? She beat the brakes off of Mackenzie Dern, knocked her out. But in some fights, she's just looking bad. She's looking washed. And it's not like she's an older fighter. It just kind of looks like she don't care no more in some of these fights. Like Jasmine Jasudavicius is a great fighter, don't get me wrong, but who is Jasmine finishing in the first 2 rounds of a fight? Nobody. Jasmine's never finished anybody in the first 2 rounds. You know, typically she's either winning by decision or she's finishing in the third, like she did against Ariana De Silva, like she did against Priscilla Cachoeira. But she went out there and finished Jessica Andrade in 2 minutes. Jessica looked like a fish out of water on the mat. You know, against Natalia Silva, she gets beat across 3 rounds and 30-27, which is not the worst look in the world. You know, Natalia Silva's a great fighter, but she just didn't look great there. I didn't think she looked great in the Marina Rodriguez fight either. That fight was a split decision. She got tapped out by Tatiana, knocked out in the first minute against Yan Xiaonan, submitted instantly by Erin Blanchfield once she got taken down. It's just some of these performances from Andrade, I just really question where she's at this stage of her career. You know, she's fought almost 40 times. I think this is going to be her 41st fight. So, for me, this fight comes down to the game plan of Lupita Godinez, because we know Lupi's not the smartest fighter at all. You know, her fight IQ is terrible. We know that. We know that. But if Lupita wants to win this fight, she's not going to go out there and strike with Andrade for 15 minutes. If she does that, she's losing the fight. But if Lupita wants to win the fight, she's going to mix in takedowns. Jessica Andrade, you know, she's a black belt, but she looks like a white belt these days. Her takedown defense doesn't look great these days. Lupita can wrestle, and Lupita does wrestle in a lot of her fights. But there are some fights where she decides not to wrestle, and it's not a good look. The Ducote fight, she decided not to wrestle. The Calvillo fight, she decided not to wrestle. The Angela Hill fight, she decided not to wrestle. She needs to decide to wrestle here. If she does that, I think she's actually going to not only win this fight, but win it pretty convincingly, because I just don't think Andrade has a great ground game at this stage of her career. Andrade has been finished 9 times in her career, which is a ton. She's been submitted a ton. She's been knocked out a ton. She's taken a lot of damage. But, you know, if Lupi's going to go out there and fight dumb, you know, Andrade can definitely win this fight. So, never mind. Andrade has been finished 10 times, actually. So, yeah, I'm going to go Lupi here. I'm gonna trust her. I'm not sure I'm going to bet on this fight, but I'm going to trust her because the path to victory is so glaring. So glaring at this stage of Andrade's career. Like, just take her down. She looks awful on the mat. Just terrible. And Lupita might actually get a finish here with Andrade. I mean, Andrade just has looked awful on bottom later in her career. So I'm going to take Lupita, and I'm going to actually take her to win this fight by submission. Lupita's been working on that grappling. She does have a couple submissions in the UFC. I think Lupita by submission for me. We'll say second round submission. Up next, we got Brian Battle going against Nursultan Ruseaboa. We got Brian Battle minus 175, Nursultan Ruseaboa plus 150. And yeah, the more I thought about this fight, because originally I was, leading Battle just because, he's a tough dude. He's going to land volume. He has good cardio. He can mix in the takedowns. But the more I thought about it, I think it's a really close fight. And I'm kind of leaning the Ruseaboa side. On the feet, Ruseaboa is brutally low volume, but he also has, massive size. I mean, he's 6'5". Has a massive reach. He has massive power. And I think all those attributes, really make his opponents kind of scared to throw a little bit. I'm not saying Brian Battle's going to be scared to throw, but if Brian Battle is going out there and swinging with this guy, Brian Battle does have pretty questionable striking defense at 48 or 44%. My goodness, that's not good. 44% striking defense for Brian Battle, that's not good at all. And Nursultan, although he is low volume, Nursultan has a ton of power. A ton of power. He was hurting Dustin Stoltzfus, who Dustin Stoltzfus is next level tough. He was going out there and knocked out Bruno Ferreira, who's looking pretty dang good at this stage of his career. Knocked out Eric Meconico. Knocked out S. Dumas. I mean, man, Battle's going to walk into some big shots here, and I don't know. I don't think Battle's ever been knocked out, but if there ever was a time that he's going to get knocked out, it's in a matchup like this where he is going to, eat one to give one. So I kind of think the minute winner will be Bryan Battle just by, landing a lot more, but, I think Nursultan can potentially knock Battle out. I think if this does go to decision, we could potentially see Nursultan win a damage-based decision just by landing some big shots. And, typically you can take down Nursultan. I do think he's working on that takedown defense, though. He was training with those, the Sean Brady, Joe Pyfer, those guys, right? And I think he's making a lot of improvements, even at, this stage of his career, 31 years old. So, yeah, working on that takedown defense, working on that grappling, you like to see it. And Bryan Battle's just not a wrestler, especially at middleweight. This is a guy that was fighting at welterweight for a while but couldn't make the weight now, and he's coming back up, and I'm not sure Bryan Battle, who has a 17% takedown accuracy, is going to be able to take down and hold down Ruseaboa. So, yeah, I think Ruseaboa is a very live dog. Whether it's knockout, whether it's a damage-based decision, I'm going to take Ruseaboa to win this fight. So I'm going to take Ruseaboa to win this fight. I'll take him to win this fight by second-round knockout. Should be an absolute banger. Up next, we have Chase the Gooner Hooper going against Alexander Hernandez. We got Chase the Gooner. He is minus 330. Alexander Hernandez is plus 270. Let me double check here. I believe we have Chase Hooper as the biggest favorite on the card. Yeah, Chase Hooper. Biggest favorite on the card here. Hernandez the biggest dog on the card, obviously. So, and yeah, I'm looking at this matchup, and it's like it's a tailor-made matchup for Chase Hooper, in my opinion. You just look, and it's like Hernandez, what does he struggle with? Well, he struggles with guys that are going to push a very high pace. Not even that, even guys that don't push a high pace. And he's getting broken in a lot of these fights. Alexander Hernandez has been broken time and time and time again. He got broken by Donald Cerrone back in the day, back in 2019. He got broken by Drew Dober and knocked out in the second round. He got broken by Renato Moicano and submitted in the second round. He got broken by Billy Q in the second round. Billy Q pushes a hectic pace. He almost got broken by, it looked like Kurt Hollabaugh was on his way to breaking him, was able to win that fight. Damon Jackson almost broke this guy. Jim Miller almost submitted Hernandez late. So it's like this guy's just been broken, and he slows down in every fight. And, Chase Hooper's a guy that he's massive. He's going to be much bigger in this matchup. And Chase Hooper pushes a pace. And that's what I love about Chase Hooper in this matchup here. Chase Hooper, he is hittable. The striking is a work in progress, and I think Hernandez might be able to have some success, and I kind of think if Hernandez is winning this fight, it's going to be him hurting Hooper early and knocking Hooper out early, just like Steve Garcia did. That was a bad look, but if Hooper gets rolling, if Hooper starts, laying on the volume, laying on the takedowns, chaining those submission attempts, making Hernandez work, getting on top, I just think it's a bad matchup for Hernandez here, as the fight goes on especially. So, yeah, I think Hooper's going to milk this guy. I think he's going to drain him. I think he's going to drain that gas tank. And I think he's going to finish him in the second or third round, whether it's a TKO, whether it's a sub. I think Chase Hooper's going to get it done. So give me Chase Hooper to win this fight. I'll take him to win this fight by second round TKO. Moving on, we got Carlos Proches going against Jeff Neal. We got Carlos Proches minus 255. Jeff Neal is plus 215. And this is a fun fight here. This is a banger. I think these two are gonna stand and bang here. I think there's a good chance somebody gets served. Both guys are tough. Jeff Neal has a pretty dang solid chin, and Proches, he's been finished a lot, but a lot of those finished losses came early in his career. I think these guys are gonna stand and strike. I was watching Proches, and it's like, I think he's so good. He's long, he's rangy. That 78-inch reach is massive. He just has those long arms and those long combinations and just a ton of power. The one knock on Proches is it just takes a little long to get going. It takes a little long to get going. Takes him a while. In the Trevin Giles fight, Trevin Giles was about to be up 2 rounds, arguably, against Carlos Proches. What are you doing, Carlos? Let's get going. And then he completely flatlines him in the second round. Against Ian Gary, Carlos Proches didn't start fighting until a minute and a half left in the 5th round. It's what are you doing, Carlos? Let's go. Let's get to it a little bit. But you're watching this fight, it's when he does get going, when he starts to come forward, when he starts to pressure, when he starts to let his hands go, he is so dangerous. The fast combinations, they land with power, and it looks like he's barely touching some of these guys, and they are going to sleep, and it's brutal. Some of these knockout wins have been brutal. The Mitch Ramirez on the Contender Series, he knocked him out. Walk-off knockout. Trevin Giles, completely. I thought Trevin Giles died after that knockout. Charles Radke with the body, knee to the body. Poor Leach, he knocked out Leach. Neil Magny, that was a great knockout. It's just the Ian Gary fight wasn't a good look. I don't know if it was because of the 5 rounds and wanted to conserve the gas tank. That's kind of what it looked like to me, but it just took him way too long to get into that next gear. If he can get into that next gear, earlier into his fights, I think he's going to be a problem. And I don't think he's going to lose many fights if he's able to do that. And I think Jeff Neal's going to kind of force that out of him. Jeff Neal is going to start fast. These guys are going to strike. And if Proches can come forward and land big, land hard, I think he can knock out Jeff Neal. And I think it could be early as well. So I like Carlos Proches here. I don't love the money line. I think Jeff Neal's a very good fighter. He has a lot of power in his own right. I like the striking, but man, if this guy Proches hits you, and he hits you clean and he hits you hard, you are going to sleep. I don't care how durable you are. So I'm going to take Proches to win this fight. I'm going to take him to win this fight by first round knockout. Next up, we got Michael Paige going against Jared Cananeer. We got Michael Paige minus 180. Jared Cananeer sitting as a plus 150 underdog, or 155 underdog. And yeah, for me, it's like, I don't think Michael Paige is losing many fights in the UFC where his opponents are going to strike with him. So I think it's going to be up to Jared Cananeer to wrestle hard, early, and often. If he doesn't do that on the feet, I have to favor Michael Paige. I mean, Michael Paige is an incredible striker. He brings a style that I don't think I've seen anything like it. It's a style where you can't hit this guy. He's either all the way in or all the way out. He made Ian Gary look like an amateur on the feet. Ian Gary had to resort to the wrestling, the grappling. But in the distance striking, Ian Gary landed only 9 distance strikes in that fight, which is ridiculous. Only 9. And Ian Gary's a great striker. He only landed 9 strikes against Michael Paige when the fight was standing. Kevin Holland, say what you want about him. Did he drop the ball against D-Rod? Yes. But outside of that, Kevin Holland's a good striker. And Michael Paige outlanded him at distance, 38-18, made Kevin Holland look stupid in the striking. Same thing with Shara. We know Shara is a high-level striker. Michael Venom Paige, 30-27 Shara in the striking. To beat Michael Paige, you need to take him down. And is Jared Cananeer all of a sudden at 41 years old going to be going out there and wrestling? And I don't think so. Jared Cananeer has 26 fights. There's only been one fight where he's gotten more than 1 takedown, and that's a concern, because to beat Michael Paige, you're going to need more than 1 takedown. And it was in the Marvin Vettori fight, where Marvin Vettori was pretty much finished, after the first couple rounds of that fight. But yeah, I think it's a good spot for Michael Paige here. I favor him quite heavily in the distance striking. When this fight's on the feet, the only thing I worry about is the size of Cananeer. Although Cananeer is 4 inches smaller in terms of size and strength and thickness, Jared Cananeer is a much bigger guy in that aspect of things. But yeah, I like Paige here. I think Paige wins a decision, potentially even knocks out Cananeer, but I'll say decision here for Michael Paige. And this is a great time to bring out the sponsor of the show. Shout out to Sleeper for sponsoring the show. And if you guys use code DFSBTN, go to Sleeper. You can get a 100% deposit match up to $100. Sleeper is doing incredible things right now. They're bringing in daily fantasy with all the sports. And we got MMA on Sleeper, which I'm really looking forward to right now. So go check out Sleeper. Use code DFSBTN. If you guys are a fan of fantasy football, Sleeper's the best to do it, in my opinion. I've been on Sleeper for the last several years. They do a great job with fantasy football, and now they're adding the DFS aspect of things. So really looking forward to Sleeper, and thank you, Sleeper, for sponsoring the show. And on Sleeper right now, they have Michael Venom Paige, 54.5 significant strikes. I am taking the less here. Michael Venom Paige is a very low-volume striker, landing only 2.5 significant strikes per minute. He landed 43 against Shara in a fight that took place standing for 15 minutes. He landed only 21 strikes against Ian Gary, and he landed only 41 strikes against Kevin Holland. And give me the less there. Give me the less on Michael Venom Paige under significant strikes. If you guys want to check that out, go use code DFSBTN and get yourself a 100% deposit match up to $100. Next up, we got Kai Asakura going against Tim Elliott. We got Asakura minus 300. Tim Elliott is plus 240. And I'm worried about Tim Elliot, you know? I'm worried about the guy. 38 years old, at flyweight. Not good. 1 year and 8-month layoff. Not good. The cardio, not good. I'm worried about Tim Elliot. You know, Kai Asakura, the UFC thinks highly of this guy, clearly. They brought him in to a title shot against Alexander Pantoja. And yeah, he lost that fight, right? But it's Alexander Pantoja. It was his UFC debut. Let's forgive the guy. Kai Asakura is a very good fighter. You know, I think he has been working on that grappling, that wrestling. You know, he trained for, you know, Pantoja. He's training for Elliot. You know, I think the takedown defense is actually good for Asakura. It's just I think Pantoja's on a completely different level. And Pantoja's in his prime, and Pantoja's looking good and quite frankly unstoppable. So can Elliot take down Asakura? Maybe. I don't think it's going to be easy at all to take him down. And then on the feet, Elliot is a tricky striker for sure, but you know, Kai Asakura's striking is nasty. Has a ton of power for the flyweight division, has those nasty knees, and I was looking through the career of Tim Elliot, and it's like this guy is not fighting anybody dangerous on the feet. Outside of Davison Figueiredo, who subbed him in the first round, and outside of Brandon Royval, I guess you could say is dangerous on the feet, and Brandon Royval subbed him in the second round. Outside of that, he's not really fighting many power punchers. I guess you could say Nicolau, but you know, outside of that, he's fighting a lot of grapplers, not a ton of people that have a ton of power, right? And Kai Asakura does have a ton of power. Another thing I want to mention is I don't know where Tim Elliott's training. There's nothing posted. The last thing I saw on his Instagram in terms of training, anything training related, was 100 weeks ago at like Glory MMA and Fitness. So I don't know if Elliott's training. I don't know where he's at. I don't know what camp he's in. I don't know has he even been training? Is he training in his garage? I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Elliot, and I don't know why he's been off for almost 2 years. You can't take a 2-year layoff at 38 years old as a flyweight. So I like Kai Asakura here quite a bit. You know, he is a big favorite, but I think Asakura wins this fight, and I think it could look dominant. I have a feeling that Elliot might not look great after this big layoff at 38 years old. And I think Kai Asakura is going to finish him here. So I like Kai Asakura. I'll take him to win this fight, and win this fight by second round knockout. All right, before we get into the co-main event, just a quick reminder, if you guys want to check out dfsbythenumbers.com, I'm doing a ton of content on there. It is absolutely the best way to support me. With that, you get access to the UFC stats model, write-ups for all bets, the best bet article and confidence ratings, first notice on all my bets, access to Discord and betting alerts, and then all Dana White's Contender Series content with the fighter notes, the betting breakdown video, the best bet article, and a lot more content as well. Going to be doing a live fight companion as well for Dana White's Contender Series, so go check it out at dfsbythenumbers.com. Moving on to the co-main event, we have Lerone Murphy going against Aaron Pico. We'll start with Pico. He's minus 170. Lerone Murphy's plus 145. So this is one of those fights that I think the betting community is going to be very split on. Like, I'm scrolling through TikTok, and it's like all I see are videos saying Lerone Murphy's a lock. Lerone Murphy's easy money. Bet your house on Lerone Murphy. Yet money's pouring in on Aaron Pico, and the Pico line's getting smashed, and Pico line is just growing every single second of the day. So first look, I was the same way. I'm like, okay, Murphy's a must bet at plus money. And then I taped Aaron Pico, and I'm like, wow, he looks really good. I like the forward pressure. I like the power. He throws with very bad intentions. Everything he throws with 110% of his power. And he can wrestle. Very good wrestler. You know, he wrestle, go to it early and often. And yeah, I think that Aaron Pico was very impressive. But then there's a big but. It's like, he looks really good. But against who? Against who? It's just really, really low competition. He looks legit, and he passes the eye test, but against who? And we've seen it time and time again. These guys come in there from another organization who look great, who have height, and then they fight a UFC level fighter like Lerone Murphy, who has incredible wins against really good guys. And it's like they don't look great. They don't look how they did in these other organizations against these lower level guys. So for me, it's a tough one because I really was impressed with Aaron Pico. But at the same time, Lerone Murphy, he's been there. He's done that. He's been in the UFC for a while now. He's undefeated. He's a really good striker. The takedown defense does worry me, but his get-up game's good. And it's kind of a show-me spot for Pico, right? Like, if he's able to beat Lerone Murphy, It's his best win by a mile, and it's not even close whatsoever. So in terms of a pick, I'm actually going to take Murphy here. Pico does scare the crap out of me, but it's a show-me spot. It's a prove-it-to-me spot. Prove that you're at this level. He's jumping in here against Lerone Murphy, a guy that's has really good wins like, Josh Emmett, Dan Ige, Edson Barbosa, guys like that. So, yeah, I'm going to take Murphy here. I'm going to take him to win this fight by decision. But, yeah, I cannot wait for this co-main event. I wasn't too excited about it initially, but after looking into it, I'm really excited for the co-main event. All right, now let's get into the main event. If you guys have not already, be sure to smash the like button for me, subscribe, and then comment down your significant strikes that you think that Khamzat and Chimaev and Dricus Du Plessis are going to combine for. $25 to first. If there's a tie, the tiebreaker goes to the person that commented first. And if you get it on the dot this week, I'm doubling the prize money to $50. So comment down those significant strikes. We got Khamzat Chimaev versus Dricus Du Plessis. And yeah, I don't think I've been this excited about a main event in a very long time. I mean, I'm really looking forward to this fight. It's just a very intriguing matchup. Very intriguing matchup. But it's a tough one. It's definitely a tough one to predict here. And kind of how I see it playing out is I think that Chimaev is going to put Dricus in a ton of bad spots early. Dricus is a guy that a lot of people have always counted out throughout a good portion of his career, including me, because I'm watching some of this guy's fights, and it's like, what are you doing? What is this guy doing in there? What is he doing? Like, he's a wild man. He's giving up bad positions. He looks like he's gassed out in the first 2 minutes of fights, and he did say he got like nose surgery or something, and his cardio has looked great or better since then. But in the past, it's like this guy, he doesn't look great to me. But yet he keeps on winning, and he hasn't stopped winning. So we got a lot of respect for Dricus Du Plessis here. This guy has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 wins in the UFC. 9 wins in the UFC. So he's a very good fighter, and I think he's gotten a lot better as well. As far as Chimaev, he's just looked dominant. He's looked unstoppable outside of the Kamaru Usman fight. That's kind of where he looked human, and the Burns fight a little bit as well, right? Looked human in that Burns fight. Looked human in the Usman fight. But outside of that, he hasn't looked human. He's going out there and running through guys. But this is going to be a tough, tricky test for Khamzat here. I do think Khamzat will be able to get takedowns and get takedowns easily. Dricus does have a 50% takedown defense. I think takedowns will be free here for Khamzat in the first round, 2 rounds here. But I worry about Khamzat if this fight were to reach the 3rd, 4th, and 5th round, if it does reach the 3rd, 4th, and 5th round. But yeah, I do think Chimaev is going to put Dricus in a lot of bad spots. We saw Derek Brunson get Dricus in some bad spots. We saw Darren Till even get Dricus in some bad spots. Robert Whittaker took him down. So, yeah, I think Chimaev will get takedowns here, and I think he's going to have an opportunity here in these first 10 minutes to find that early finish on Dricus by submission. And if he's not, if this fight does reach that 3rd round, I think that's when Dricus kind of starts to take over. Chimaev probably starts to slow down. We haven't seen Chimaev in a 3rd round all too often, but when we have, didn't look great in that Usman 3rd round. Didn't look amazing in the Burns 3rd round. And he's never seen a 4th and 5th, so if it goes to the 4th and 5th, you got to imagine it's Dricus. So I'm seeing this as Khamzat early or Dricus late. As far as a pick, I'm going to go Khamzat here. I'm going to go Khamzat to win this fight, and it's either going to look like an incredible pick or a very bad one. If he's able to go out there and get that early sub, it's kind of where I'm leaning. But if he's not able to finish Dricus early, it's going to probably start to get bad and start to get bad very quickly. 3rd, 4th, and 5th round should be all Dricus, I think. But we really don't know because we haven't seen Khamzat there before. So, but yeah, give me Khamzat to win this fight. I'll take him to win this fight by 1st round submission in this one. There you guys have it. Thank you all so much for watching. If you guys are still watching, I know it was a longer video this week, a lot to talk about. If you guys can do me a huge favor, like on your way out, subscribe to the channel on your way out, trying to reach 30K by the end of the year. And again, if you want to support me more, check out dfsbythenumbers.com. All Dana White's Contender Series content is out, and going to start cranking out that UFC 319 stuff as well. So best of luck, everybody, for UFC 319. Should be an incredible card. Looking forward to being there, attending it live, and we will see you guys later. Peace.